Hey there, folks. So, I wanted to start off saying I hope the audio is going to be better in this episode. Actually, going through trying to make some changes there just to improve things. Going back and listening to some of the older episodes, I understand the audio quality sucks. So, hopefully, things are a little better in this episode, and all episodes going forward as a result. But with that out of the way, though, last episode we had started the process of setting up new game configuration options. So that's things like our day length, enabling third person, head bob, things like that. And we got as far as that being put into our game instance for storage within our saved game. But we do need to finish hooking that up so that we can actually make use of that. So what we're going to do is work on that this episode. So with that, just going to stop our play in editor, and I'm actually going to close out of the editor. I had launched through Visual Studio, and apparently had Epic Games Launcher open. So with that though, I'm going to stop Visual Studio. Yeah, it's still shutting down. Apparently it was using 5 gigs of memory, which is impressive. But anyway, so we'll get things started here while this finishes shutting down. So as we had gone through, we added in a few extra functions here for set the game configuration and then set the individual ones. And also we are able to pull that information out. What we need to do, first of all, we're going to start with our chrono manager. And that is with our day length. So that's our set day length, get day length, things like that. So what we're going to do there, into our base class chrono manager base, we want to find our begin play function, and we're going to put this in here. So we've got our timer set in there, which is for our update world temperature. We're good on that. Calculate day length. So we're going to want to do that right here. Actually, we can do that as part of calculate day length. Thinking about it, because this is the value we want here. So do I actually have game instance in this one? No. Okay, so we're going to open our game instance, and I want to add that header as well. I'm going to throw that down here. And actually, I want to, before we get too carried away even with that, we need to add a utility function. And that's to map our enum in day length to an actual number of minutes. So no, we don't have that, so let's add that in. And that is our e day length. So it's going to grab that header there. Or that include, I should say. Now we want an int e day length to int. And we want a const e day length reference length. Did I spell that wrong? No, it should be right. Oh, I did. I had the TH wrong. And then all we're going to do here, after we've created that definition, switch length, case e day length. I'm going to start with default. And we're just going to go through and put all of these in. Sometimes you will find it will auto fill these for you. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure if that's a problem with IntelliSense as a whole, or if that's IntelliSense working with Unreal Logic. So And with the default, now the E day length default, I want to be clear, that one we want it, this is whatever you want it to be as your base go-to. 60 is my default. The rest of them are going to be obviously what they want. So we want 30, 60, 120, 180, 240, 2400, and 300. Now this, the default, we actually want to log an error with that one. We don't have any reference to the logger here though, so we're going to want to add that. It's a source file, we want to add that too. Why are you complaining? No, IntelliSense just hadn't updated. And let me fix my spelling there as well. That was my issue. So we're just going to add that is tf-utils e day length to int unknown enum value, error level error. So this is just a very quick helper function. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to add that to our function library as well. So we're going to add these in. U function blueprint callable, blueprint pure category. Trying to think what category, because I want to keep this unique. TF time meta equals tooltip converts the day length enum to a int representing minutes. Static int and call this one just day length to int const e day length. Did I not include utils in here? No. Okay. So we also need to include utils. Actually, we don't need, should be able to just do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just going to, sitting here in silence, I'm just going to clean these up a little bit. I don't need to expose those to the header file. We've got log level in there, so we'll use just trying to clean this up a bit to help with compilation time. What do you mean it's not found? Sorry, I'm sitting here in silence making code improvements and not really describing anything here. So what I was going through trying to do is just trying to, excuse me one second. Sorry, I didn't want to cough in everyone's ear there. Trying to go through and do some just quick code improvements to help with compilation time and build time, things like that. So as I've mentioned in previous episodes, anything you include as an include within your header file is going to be built as soon as we read this, like the compiler reads this file. If it's in the source file, it's not an issue. E log level. It's right there. Okay, well, I'm overcomplicating things, so I'm just going to put these both in the header file and leave it at that, because it was throwing errors. So okay, so we've got day length to int, and then we're just going to tf utils. Let's open that up. We want to return e day length to int. Let's see, are you gonna? Oh, I didn't include that in there, did I? Yeah. It is one of those days for me today. All right. Anyway, so now that we've got that, it's going to be a case of going back to our chrono manager. Where you want to do this, it's going to be either, as I mentioned, in begin play before you calculate day length, or because we have this dedicated function for calculating day length, I would recommend putting it in there. So I'm just going to go day length in minutes equals I completely forgot what this function is called. I completely spaced on it. Gameplay statics. Okay. Gameplay. It's lowercase, that's why. Gameplay statics. I don't have that in here, do I? Nope. Oh, IntelliSense, I hate you sometimes. Kismet. Okay, so day length in minutes equals cast UTF game instance U gameplay statics get game instance get world get day length. Well, this is returning the enum. So what we need to now do here is use our utility function, which is eDayLength to int. So now this is going to end up with a really long single piece of code, but we can clean this up a bit for ease of visualization. So what we're doing here is we're getting the day length in minute by casting to our game instance, getting its day length, and converting that. So what I'm going to do here, no, why does this never work the way you want it to? So this is something else to keep in mind when you're writing code, is white space is ignored. So like this little highlighted section here, the compiler doesn't care about it. It doesn't exist. This little section doesn't exist. It is control characters that it pays attention to. So like this semicolon, it tells the compiler this particular line here is one single piece of code to be compiled all at once. So you can do things like spread this across multiple lines for the purpose of ease of reading. Now there is some things you need to take into account. Control characters for things like strings, you can't do that. Just because there's special control characters to use. So like /r, no, backslash. Like those characters are treated as new lines, things like that. There's various different ones there, but anyways, this isn't a C++ lesson. So what we've done here is we've gone through and we've got our game instance and we are pulling out the day length and we're setting it at calculate day length. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to build. I'm going to pause the video, and as soon as this is back up and in the editor, we'll continue where we left off. All right, folks, so the build did finish with an error. That is in our blueprint function library. I screwed something up there. Log level to error level unknown override specifier. Okay, what change should I make to that? Let me pull up my... No, that's not what I want to do. I removed logger. Oh, that's why. I moved that over to here, didn't I? Yep. Okay, I am just going to bring both of these into here and see. Log level to error level, unknown override specifier. Yeah, it didn't like the changes I made to our includes, so. And this is where me being an old school C++ programmer sort of backfires sometimes, because I'm using old methods that don't always work. So this time around, we'll see. I'm going to keep things recording. Okay, I built with no error. There we go. Okay, so let's just launch into the editor. I'm not going to pause the video this time. No, it's loading up pretty quick. So anyways, just going through to try and fill some time here. The build error there is because it was having trouble mapping enums to the correct data type. That's because I'd moved things around. I have old school styles that I have to remember don't always work with new code formatting. So anyways, now that we've got that up and running, what we're going to do here is it's going to fail when we run this on our test map more than likely, but where'd our Chrono Manager base go? So we're going to throw this here. Oh, we already have a breakpoint. So if we hit play, that should automatically, yep, we hit that. And our default day length is set to 25 because of what? That is what our standard is. Oh, I bet I know why. Let's go back to our code here for a second. Game instance header file. So we'll go to definition, configuration data, dot length of day. What did we set that to? What's a data type? Where is configuration data? That should be returning 60. Okay, let's go to our utility function then and see what is getting passed through. Okay, maybe that's not working. So let's change this and move this line of code here into our begin play. See if that makes a difference. And these are some of the weird behaviors you may need to account for. Actually, I already know what the issue is already. We need to recompile our game instance blueprint. Pretty sure there's a configuration setting for that. I'll have to look into that. That's not what I wanted to do. And because the editor's being unresponsive, it's going to take forever. But yeah, so that's one thing also I've noticed. When you have a C++ class like we have here with our game instance, pull that up, and our chrono manager, there we go. Sometimes I found for things to correctly apply, bring over this, we need to go into our blueprint classes. So go into the dev, our chrono manager, and I actually need to move this into its own parent one now. Where'd you go? Oh, you're over on my other screen. And just force a recompile. Because currently our default day length is 10 minutes. So move this out of the way. Let's try this again. Okay, so we have a... There we go. So now we do that. And should hop it back to the editor. Nope. Okay. And up here, chrono manager, and we should see our day length is 60. And that is done before any of the time calculations are in place. So you should see how slowly the minute in the top every second. Not every second, was it? 60 minutes, 24 hours. Off the top of my head, I can't do that math. But so in here, though, you can see that has automatically done that. So now what we're going to do, though, we are going to test that out and go from start to finish. So we're going to go maps and our persistent. Yeah, we'll move that out of the way. Play this. This should start our new game. So we're going to go new game. And this will load into our dev map. Not worried about that, but we're going to go 300. Just set that to a big absurd number that we can start with. We hit start, shift F1 to get out of that, and we don't have a chrono manager on this map, do we? So let's fix that. Open up our dev map quickly. Yeah, we didn't add the chrono manager in. So dev BP chrono manager, bring you in. There we go. Save that map. And then we need to adjust some of our other components here. Sunlight. We don't have a skylight, so let's add that in. These should both be set to movable, actually. Movable and movable. And then we want to grab our curves. Annual sun. What? Oh, no. Daily sun rotation. Let's get these in place. Actually, I'll show you a neat trick. So if we hop back to our third person map quickly. and we find our chrono manager in here. This is a little trick I found. You guys probably know it already, but you can go to a setting, right click, copy all properties and category. Then we can go back to our dev map, right click, paste. Oh, you're not gonna... Oh, no, it's not. Okay. I got rid of those, didn't I? Chrono Manager. Sun rotation. Daily sun rotation. Yeah, okay, so it's just the rotation values. And this is one of the reasons why I actually recommend you go through with some of your comments. Oh no, I've never set that up, did I? I didn't set that up, did I? The annual sun rotation. Yeah. Update lighting, update light rotation. Why? Oh, it's because they're both colors now. That's why. Yep. Okay. I'm having a moment there. Can't remember my own work. Now let's pull back my curves there. Skylight daily color. Okay. Save that. Yes, today I am a little all over the place. There's unfortunately a extended break for me, which is causing me to remember a lot of, well, have to remember a lot of the stuff I've done. So, unfortunately, back to school has proven to take a lot of my time. So, we're just going to go through and repeat what we were just doing. 300. There we go. We should see that comes in as 300. We're returning 300 there, which is what we want. And day length in minute 300. Now there is, as we just seen up there at the top, a problem with the time calculation. That very first time tick wasn't calculating it. So what we need to do there is also fix that. However, we can do that a little later on. But that shows that we have that set up. Actually, now let's test our save game, make sure that's working, actually. So we're going to go new game, 300 minutes, start. I'm going to remove that breakpoint. We are going to hit 7. Total 1 were saved in... okay, that's obviously, there's some flaw in my math there. Oh, there was a... yeah. Okay, so you can see we have a day length of 300, and I'm just hitting 9 to reload. That's what that causing that blue found player, existing player pawn. But if you can see, that is set to 300. So if we now start again, and we're just going to start a new game, and we're going to go the opposite end. We're going to go down to 30 minutes. We'll select our chrono manager to see it's 30 minutes there. We're going to hit 9. Reselect our chrono manager, and that is 300. So that is being saved within our game information. So we've got that part done there. Now we're going to close out of the editor because we do need to make some tweaks to the other couple of places, third person and head bob. Now head bob I'm still not 100% sure on, so I'm not going to do that yet. just simply because it is a royal pain in the backside with that one, because you're detaching and reattaching components based on a configuration setting, and it gets a little complicated. So what we're going to do, though, is I'm going to clean up some of the stuff. So Chrono Manager, we don't need the header. Actually, what we do want to do, though, is we want to take, as part of our tick, at our very start of begin play, once all of that is done, we want to broadcast that on time changed. Because what that's going to do is that is going to force the clock to update instantly. The problem we were having there, if we go back to this, is that was inside our time was updated. Now, actually, there's two ways. Sorry, I'm going to do this the other way. I do apologize. What I'm going to do is in our header for our Chrono Manager, we have our time was updated, was false. We're going to change that to true. If I can find it. Time was updated. We're going to have that a default value of true. The reason being for that is, again, we'll go back to the source file, is the first time the actor ticks, which means everything's up, the tick is happening. Our other components, like our HUD, should be registered for this broadcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our normal tick, obviously. We're going to be updating the time, and then this is going to be set to true. So we're going to fall into this. We're going to make that broadcast, and then we're going to set that to false. So, all right. Now, with that, let's go over to our player character. We're going to sort out that third person one. Let's close all these out to clean things up. And we want player character source file. So, same thing. We're going to go... actually, we want the header file as well, because we need a flag to store that, because we don't want to constantly be calling to the game instance every time somebody presses the toggle perspective. So all we want here is in our private section, just put that as a visible anywhere blueprint read only. Input, actually, yeah, that can go in our input section. Actually, no, it'll go down here. So we want a bool be third person enabled equals, we're going to say false by default, because that is how our settings work. So now in our source file in begin play, let's pull these up. Dove Kismet includes in here. No, it's not. Okay. Kismet. Statics. So just here in our begin play, it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing we did in our Chrono Manager. It's going to be third person enabled equals cast UTF game instance. Oh, we don't include that in here, so we need that. Now you can go through and set these up in other ways. You could have your game instance push it out. You could add an interface, which is tempting to add because we're going to be adding a lot of getters for settings as we go, so I may do that, but that's something I'm going to think about. Okay, so you gameplay statics, get game instance, get world, and then Okay, so I've got way too many. Get game instance, get world, so that's the game instance. That's there. Okay, why are you not get third person enabled? Oh, thirst. That might be the reason why it didn't work. So now that we've got that, we have our Boolean flag here to control that. So we're just going to go to toggle perspective, and we can just quite easily do it this way. If third person enabled is false, we're not going to do anything. And actually, we missed something else here, is the block input. Catch that quickly. If B third person is enabled, or we're blocking character input, we want to return. Because you don't want the player character to toggle perspective while you're in the inventory, for example. So now we've got that. We are going to just quickly make sure that is working. So B third person enable, throw a breakpoint there, and we're going to build this again. And yeah, I do apologize. I know I'm a little scattered this episode, all over the place with what I'm trying to say. Like I said, it's been a few days since I've done any work on this, but unfortunately returning to my day job and the kids going back to school has sort of messed with my brain. So, oh, and now, well, we did some changes to both player character and the game instance. Did we actually do a change in there? No, we didn't. Chrono manager, yeah. Okay, that succeeded. So I was just trying to figure out why it had so many builds, but yeah, so with that, what we're going to do is we're going to now test both the fix for that time update, and then also making sure third person is blocked or not blocked, depending on that configuration setting. So we're just going to open up our persistent level here, which is the base one that we do when we open when the game itself will start. So this simulates a new game, player just launching your application. Okay, so now it's going to hit that first. We expect that because the player character is automatically spawned. So it hits that. We're going to see that, like I said. Now, new game. Day length is going to be 300. Third person enabled. I defaulted that to false, didn't I? Yes. So we want to set that to true to start with. Okay, so it's default to false. And then third person character. Search for enabled, third person enabled. Okay, so that's set to true. And I think it was V, wasn't it? Yep. And I left my phone sitting on something metal. But so there you go. You can see it's enabled and disabled there. So let's start another new game. And actually, we're going to pay attention to that time in the top right. Okay. So we see that cast is happening. We're calling that information, so we're good there. So new game. Set this to 300 minutes. We're going to have this disabled. I'm going to hit start. So you can see our time is updated automatically. Our temperature, however, isn't. Actually, no, we don't have temperature curves on this one, I don't think. That would be why. So it's sitting at the default 20. So yeah. But you can see we have our basic setup there, and as you can hear, I'm tapping away on the V key, and we're not able to go through. So what I'll do, just so we can prove that though, Let's go to our toggle perspective. Throw a breakpoint on there. Hit V. Third person enabled is false, so we're returning automatically. So with that, we have covered some of the basic information there. The basic process of storing game information, like per save game information in our game instance, saving that within our save game object so we can pull it back out, use it as needed, and also applying that to the places that it should be. I am actually thinking about it going to cover next episode, moving through all of these new functions into a interface. Just simply because we're going to have... do I want to, though? Because this really is... So this is the issue you're going to find when you're looking online for information about interfaces and stuff like that. They're going to say use an interface because it is more efficient than this. Let me get that part right there. Cast this object to an instance. But when you look at it, you're casting to an instance. So at a blueprint level, I can understand it being useful to use an interface because it does all of that for you in the background. Let me pull up a blueprint here just to show you. We'll open up the Chrono Manager blueprint. So get interaction. So you have this here. So you get your get interaction text. It's doing all of that cast for you. It's assuming like everything in there. It's going to let me go into that. Oh, it's a C++ one. But yeah, so it's doing all that cast for you instead of going cast to TF actor, get interaction. Well, it's already casting that to the interface there. Interaction. Oh, those are all... yeah, they're all private, so that's not the best act. Let me check. Treebase. Blueprint native, blueprint callable. No. Yeah, it's because they don't have the ufunction declaration that's saying they're blueprint callable. You can't call these, but either way. So the whole thing there, and I'll get off my soapbox here in a moment, but this is one I wanted to cover. If you're working in C++, personally, everything I have found, and if somebody has evidence to the contrary, please point me to it. But I've found if you're working in C++, the only time you want to use an interface is if you have, and you can't see me doing air quotes here, an unknown base class that you're trying to pull information from. So like I have, the way this is set up, we have the actor interface, save actor interface, sorry, we're using on TF character, TF actor, and on components. And that is a good use for an interface because those three different base classes all have the interface so that we can just make one universal call. But because we know 100% we are talking to the game instance, you don't need to use an interface. Now, that is at a C++ level. Now, at a blueprint level, I'm just going to game instance. Get game instance. Now, at a blueprint level, you could do that because when you're doing it to TFK, you have to throw in for something like this. If you were trying to take all the code I'm writing in C++ and convert it to blueprints, which you can do if you wanted to, you would need to throw a cast in here. So, and that is where it would be easier, because cast as to get third person enabled. So you now have that. Whereas if it was an interface, basically you would have this, and then just imagine that's a Boolean. So you can see it's one node less, and you don't have to worry about, okay, well, what happens if the cast failed? Convert to pure cast. This is the other one. In blueprints, unless you're 100% sure what you're doing, do not use a pure cast, because I've seen most people do this. And okay, well, if it succeeds, yes. If it didn't, well, you don't need to do that. You're adding an extra blueprint node. You want this, the impure cast, because if that branch is already in here, this is your true, this is your false. So anyways, I am going to get off my soapbox. I understand I'm talking from old school C++ experience that is not as relevant in today's modern C++ standards. And I'm obviously not a professional game developer. So, but as anyways, I'm going to leave that there, folks. This episode, just a quick recap. We covered the second part of setting up our new game configuration options. Things like day length, head bob enable. Well, I didn't do head bob because I'm still toying with that one. Not 100% sure how I want to handle that. Third person enabled. And obviously the list of... No, I don't want to save anything there. The list of things that are going to be... No, just 1 second here. I do this every episode. I want to say sign off and I end up doing 100 different things. But so with that, though, this list of configuration items here, obviously that is going to expand and grow as your project grows. These aren't the only ones I'm going to be adding. There's going to be dozens and dozens more, 100 plus more configuration options depending. And you can go into as much detail or as little detail as you want with those, because ultimately it's your game. Make it how you want. So yeah, we've got that basic implementation of this setup and shown how to get that working. I know I threw a post up on YouTube about it. I did do some save game testing. Quickly cover that here. We've got 10 minutes before I want to have to end the episode. So I did do some testing on our save logic that we set up in like first, what was it, episodes 5 to 8. Because I've been doing a little more work on my one game map. It's actually taken a while to load here just because of how many trees I've added to it. Performance is actually tanked, so I've got to figure out a way to address that. Yeah, it is taking forever to load. But anyway, so I threw up a little screenshot on it. And I've got it set up that there is, I think I hit around 40,000 trees. Turn the lighting off so you can get a better idea here. So this is just me going through, and I'm testing things because I want to figure out, okay, where's a happy medium of destructible trees versus like just background actors. But let's see here. I'm slowly going through. For anyone who's looked at that series, I'm slowly adding forested areas, and obviously this is far from realistic. Some of these don't even need to be here, like all these trees. It's hard to see them in the back there. But if I go over to my foliage tab, or mode, I should say, 10, 20, 30... Yeah, we're sitting around 40. I'm in the process of trying to move over to some new trees. As you can see, I've got 20 of these, 20 of that. It's actually where I was right down... Where was I working on that? There's a little nodule of trees around here. Oh, right there. That I'm slowly trying to replace. But I'll just quickly show that off here, because I was actually quite happy with how efficient this was. So, throw down a play from here. Now this is going to take a moment. Like I said, performance tanks, because there is 40,000 non-LOD'd trees or anything like that. So you can see how bad the performance is going here. So just wait for that grass to almost stay real time. I say that, and now it's not going to. But yeah, you can see I'm trying to move, and yeah, that's like 2 frames a second. So let's just see if I can get that to trigger. So yeah, there we go. 39,990 trees were saved in 742 milliseconds, and that is around whatever is causing my performance to tank here. So that is, you can see this will change. There we go, 500. Sitting around the 530 milliseconds there. And again, this is all because my frame rate sucks right now, because this is happening. Oh, there we go. Things have finally caught up. So yeah, we're sitting, yeah, around the 500. And then we hit load. Let's just see if that's actually working. I haven't tried anything with the load. Yeah. So, and load is happening almost as fast. So, but anyways, I have dragged this on. I've covered that. The efficiency of that save game behavior. And I'm not going to claim that as mine. As I mentioned in those episodes, that was Tom Lumen. Followed his tutorial on that, and it was actually very helpful. Now what I've done is not the exact same as his, because mine is for a single player, non-multiplayer, just everything like that. So it's a little more adjusted compared to what he did in the end, but a very similar process to what he had. But anyways, folks, I'm going to end things here before I continue driveling on about random topics. As always, thank you for watching. If there's any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And I will see you in the next episode.